Executive presence. How to look like a leader before you are one. Someone walks into a meeting. Before they've said a single word, the energy in the room changes. Conversations become quieter. People instinctively pay attention. Eyes shift toward them. It's almost as if everyone expects them to lead. Here's what's interesting. That person isn't always the smartest in the room. They don't always have the highest title. Sometimes they aren't even the person running the meeting. What they have is executive presence. And despite what many people believe, executive presence isn't something you're born with. It's not natural charisma. It's not confidence that magically appears after a promotion. It's a collection of behaviors that signal competence, authority, and leadership. The best part? Every one of those behaviors can be learned. Let's break them down. Executive presence is built on 3 dimensions: gravitas, communication, and appearance. This framework comes from research by the Center for Talent Innovation, which surveyed thousands of senior executives to understand what separates professionals who advance into leadership roles. They found that executive presence accounts for roughly 26% of what influences promotion decisions, second only to actual performance. In other words, doing great work matters. But if people don't perceive you as someone who can lead, your growth often slows down. So let's look at the 3 dimensions. First, gravitas. Gravitas is the weight your presence carries. It's what makes people stop talking when you begin speaking. Not because you're loud, because people believe what you're about to say is worth hearing. The first element of gravitas is emotional steadiness. When pressure increases, most people speed up. They talk faster, move faster, think faster. Their stress becomes visible. Leaders do the opposite. They slow down. Their voice becomes calmer. Their movements become more deliberate. Instead of adding to the chaos, they become the calmest person in the room. People naturally look to whoever appears most composed during uncertainty. The second element is decisiveness. Professionals with executive presence don't hide behind endless qualifiers. Instead of saying, "I think maybe we should," or "I'm not completely sure," but they communicate with clarity. "My recommendation is this. Here's why." Then they stop. Confidence isn't speaking the loudest. It's removing unnecessary hesitation. The third element is the willingness to disagree respectfully. Many professionals stay silent because they don't want to create tension. Leaders know that protecting the business is more important than protecting comfort. If everyone is moving toward a poor decision, they're willing to say, "I see this differently," not to win an argument, to improve the outcome. People remember the person who respectfully challenges the room far more than the person who simply agrees with it. The second dimension is communication. Executive communication isn't about using impressive vocabulary. It's about being clear. The biggest mistake professionals make is believing that more explanation equals more credibility. Usually, the opposite is true. The more you over-explain, the less confident you sound. One framework that works exceptionally well is called PRE: position, reasoning, end. Start with your recommendation. Support it with 1 or 2 key reasons. Then stop talking. For example, I recommend delaying the launch. The customer feedback shows onboarding issues that will reduce retention. Happy to discuss the details. That's enough. Most people ruin strong communication by continuing to talk simply because silence feels uncomfortable. But silence isn't weakness. Silence gives people time to think. It allows your message to land. The second part of communication is vocal delivery. Speak slightly slower than normal. Lower your pace instead of speeding up. Finish your statements with certainty instead of making every sentence sound like a question. Small adjustments in pacing and tone dramatically change how people perceive your authority. You don't need to sound dramatic. You need to sound intentional. The third dimension is appearance. Appearance isn't about fashion. It isn't about expensive clothing. It's about intentionality. Research shows that people begin forming impressions within seconds of seeing someone. Those first impressions influence everything that follows. That's why appearance matters. Dress for the role you want to grow into. Not because clothes create competence, because they communicate readiness. Next is posture. Stand tall, keep your shoulders relaxed, keep your chin level, avoid constant fidgeting. Purposeful movement signals confidence, nervous movement signals uncertainty. Finally, think about physical positioning. When you enter a meeting, don't automatically choose the corner seat. Sit where you can see everyone. Make eye contact around the room. Claim your space naturally. Leadership isn't about taking over a room. It's about looking comfortable enough to belong in it. Let's bring everything together. Executive presence isn't a mystery. It's a skill. You build it one meeting at a time. First, develop gravitas. Stay calm under pressure. Communicate decisions with confidence. Have the courage to respectfully disagree when necessary. Second, improve your communication. State your position. Support it with reasoning. Then stop. Let your words carry their own weight. Third, become intentional about your appearance. Dress appropriately for the environment. Maintain confident posture. Take up space naturally without trying to dominate it. Remember this: executive presence doesn't begin after you become a leader. Executive presence is often what helps you become one. People don't promote potential they can't see. They promote the person who already behaves like they're ready for the responsibility. The professionals you admire weren't born with executive presence. They built it. Conversation by conversation. Meeting by meeting. Decision by decision. And now you have the same blueprint. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more psychology, leadership, and executive communication strategies designed to help you earn influence before you ever receive the title.